Hey y'all, and happy Easter. The Lord is risen. Amen. I want to tackle one topic that I feel like is not discussed enough today. I actually got this inspiration from my girl Kira. I hear you, girl. And that is makeup brushes. You know, tutorials these days with drugstore makeup, high end versus low end. Girl, break it down. What is this brush? Do I really need this brush? Is there something else I can use? But I'm gonna go over this with you, and we're gonna keep it all the way real on this channel. These makeup brushes are not clean because I just did this face for you guys. I do have a fair amount of brushes, but I don't have a lot. So you don't see jars and jars of these around my house. These are all of my makeup brushes. And first and foremost, we're gonna start off with our dirty beauty blender. Basically, your beauty blender is just your all-around universal sponge that can do so many things on your face. You can actually apply all of your makeup with a beauty blender. I'm not that skilled and haven't really figured it out. So I use the bottom part for my tinted moisturizer or foundation, just because it has a bigger surface area. And then I use the side up here because it comes to a point to get into the crevices under my eyes to blend out my concealer. Is the beauty blender really worth it? And the answer is yes, it is. Nothing really has ever blended my makeup as good or has compared to the precision of a beauty blender. Okay, so now time for the actual brushes. Your powder face brush. So this is the Real Techniques brush, and this is their buffing brush. So it is a denser brush, and the reason why I like this is because it actually does buff out everything really well. So I use this to apply like my bronzer. If I'm going out really quick and I'm not putting on a full face of makeup, I'm using this to apply like just some light powder all over my face just so I'm not super shiny. This next brush I have is by Eco Tools, and this is called their powder or blush brush. I use this for my blush sometimes, like I used it today for my blush. If I am running really quickly out the door, I can also grab this to put powder all over my face really quickly. This also works really good for applying setting powder under your eyes, because if you see, this one has a little bit of a flatter shape than this one, whereas this one is more round. This one is flatter, so you can pat the powder under your eyes. We have our angled brush. The reason why I would say this is a necessity is because you can use it for lots of different things, mostly like in your cheek area. So if you're contouring or applying bronzer to like the hollows of your cheek, obviously, as I did today, this is going to be really good. Also, you can use this for blush on your cheeks because it is so small. I can also apply highlight right here as well with an angled brush. One thing I will say is I wouldn't be using this for all three of those things at one time, just because you see like I have a contour on here. So if you've already applied your contour, you don't want your highlight looking all muddy like this. So if you've already applied your contour, then use your fingers, okay? Oh, and I didn't even tell you what brush this was. This is the Sigma large angled brush, the F40. Let's go into some eyeshadow. I just got hip to the eyeshadow game. One brush I feel like you definitely are gonna need is like a fluffy eyeshadow brush. This is a brush that is good for blending, which is one of the #1 key things to keep in mind when you're applying eyeshadow. Just starting out, just applying a wash of color to your eye or doing a little bit of smoky eye on the corner is your best bet. So this brush I really like. This is the Real Techniques base shadow brush. It is very fluffy. It is a bit denser. The one thing I like about Real Technique brushes is that they're not so fluffy that, you know, they don't have any structure to them. They have a bit of density in them, which is really good for the price. Another small brush that I feel like you're gonna need for your makeup is a angled brush, a small angled brush. This is a Eco Tools angled liner brush. You can use this for your eyebrows, really getting in there and filling in those brows. If you're using like a powder or like a pomade or a gel or something like that in your brows, this brush is really precise. Also, you can use this for your eyeliner. So I have used this for a gel eyeliner. I've also used this to just smudge a little bit of dark powder into the base of my eyelashes or under my eyes as well. It works that way too. Another one that I have here that I really like that's a bit smaller is this little brush. And this is the small angled brush by e.l.f. So this was like $1. So I don't know if I would necessarily call this a brush. I mean, it's in a brush family. It's always in a brush kit. and that is the Spoolie brush. I feel like this is the most underrated tool. Like, people feel like they don't ever need this. It will change your life. So this Spoolie brush is by Eco Tools. I got it in that same kit. I like this brush specifically because the spoolie is so big. I can use this to comb out my brows. So before I ever put anything in my brows, I'm brushing them upwards so I can see the natural shape of them. But also after I apply my mascara, now lately what I've been doing is combing through them to get any clumps out with the spoolie brush, and that really helps as well. So if you look at it, it's basically like a smaller version of your mascara. So it's definitely gonna comb through and get those clumps out for you. So a spoolie brush, specifically if your focus is like your eyebrows, I would definitely say you need to get one of these. Our beloved fan brush. So you know that you hardly ever see a YouTube video go by where they're applying some highlighter or something where they're not putting that fan to use. I used this today, and it's really so good to apply your highlighter. This is not one of those brushes that I would say is like, oh, so multifaceted. It's really not. It's really just good to get your highlighter to be spread out evenly all over your, you know, high cheekbone area. Because of the span of it, it just makes it just gleam. Like, I've personally seen the difference of me using like a brush and pinching it versus using an actual fan brush, and I will say it's worth it, ladies. This is a Sigma strobing fan, the F42. I really like this brush. It is one of the more denser fan brushes I've seen. A lot of them can be a little bit flimsy. There's another one I have here too that I got from the beauty supply. So this brush, this fan brush, is a lot bigger, and it doesn't have as much density as this one's. Whereas these like kind of like, you know, move more freely, but it still does the job. You just have to work with it a little bit more. One last thing I cannot stress enough is your fingers. You can get so much done with your fingers. Obviously, just make sure they're clean, but there have been plenty of times where I am throwing on my highlight in the morning with my finger. So blending out that concealer with your fingers, applying that highlight with your fingers, don't count them out. You have 10 of them. Just think of that as 10 extra brushes. That is all I have for you guys. I hope that was helpful, because I know when I was first trying to figure out my makeup, I was buying and investing in brushes that I really didn't need, or could only do one thing for me. So I hope this helps you like figure out, if you were questioning like what brushes to buy. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will for sure link to all the brushes below. If you've made it this far, you might as well subscribe, okay? Don't be that person, all right? Thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.